Hello everyone! Thanks so much for tuning into my channel. Today we'll be painting this floral branch. I'm using my size 2 OOKU round quill, my Sonnet and SeamiArt watercolors. I have my ceramic watercolor palette ready, my jar of water, and today I'm painting on my 300 GSM watercolor paper by B Paper Company. Let's get started. Today I want to start with some quick flowers. I'm starting with my dark purple. Just getting some ready in my palette. I have a little bit of madder red right there, and I'm not going to worry about any mixing of these. I don't mind it. Okay. Just want to make some quick strokes for these petals. Just keep this nice and loose. Just drop in some more pigment. Please forgive the lighting. We are having some cloudiness today, so sometimes the light is coming and going. Okay. Just kind of keeping these really loose as possible. All right, and then dropping some more of this pigment just near the centers. Okay, and then just dropping some more pigment in here. Now this one has kind of dried, so I'm just kind of wetting my brush, and I'm going to drag down these petals. Okay, dropping in a little more, just to be sure some of that bleeds. Okay, and then I like to just soften some of this up with some water. And this will add, you know, as I'm brushing this in, this will add visually some layers there. It will look like there's another layer of petals. I have a drop of water here, but I also love, and I don't always go for this, but I love when I get this bloom in there. I like that look. It's not something that you want to do maybe every time necessarily, and I know that it's not always desirable even, but I have learned to really appreciate it, and I enjoy it so much quite often. So I'm just brushing these with some water, just where I think we could have another layer of petals. It's just really fun to watch these bleeds happen. This is a fun technique to do with leaves as well, especially if you can just kind of grab an edge and kind of brush the water along an edge of a leaf. Sometimes you get the look of the leaf curling. I think that's really fun, really pretty. Okay, I'm going to let that do just a little bit of drying, just a little, and then kind of come back and you know, see if I want some more layers in there or not. Maybe just do the centers, but until then, and while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to go ahead and do some leaves. And I'm looking over my palette. I think I'll go with olive green. And I'm just going to get some leaves in here kind of quickly, and then I'll do probably a branch. I've done that recently, and oh, I just loved it. It was just so fun. Okay, now I don't want to go into my water areas and the places that are still wet, because I don't want this green to bleed into my purple. So I'm just going to be kind of careful in those areas and just kind of dance around it, kind of play a bit on the outsides. Love these. I like to have some kind of texture on these too, not just have them round. So that little squiggle there on an edge, that works really well for me. Just kind of gives it a little more character. And I did touch into that purple just real quick. I'm going to give that a little dab. I'm not going to worry about the pigment that's already in there, but just trying to keep it from bleeding further in, really, is all I'm doing. And then kind of drag this pigment back. I like a few of these little flourishes. Maybe just a little green back there. I like to kind of change up my technique with my brush. I don't want to always start and finish my leaves the same way. I like to just keep it a little more random, I guess. A little bit of green pigment in there, not going to worry about that at all. I just kind of dabbed it so it would not continue bleeding into that, but it doesn't offend me. Just want to get a little more variety in these leaves. And see, I love this texture here. Could easily create something like that here. Maybe. I say maybe easily. You never know. Oh, I like it. Let's see, give that just a touch. Now, this is a bit much down here. I want to just touch that with water, kind of pull it up to the top. Then I can kind of just use some of that pigment for a little vein there. We'll just see what that ends up looking like. I'm not going to be picky about it. Okay, I like how these are drying. I do tend to, because my light is over here to the camera left, I tend to tilt my head down on the right over here and just kind of look across it to see where I still have things that are maybe wet. It just helps me. Okay, I want to put some of this yellow in there, and I think actually I'm going to go with my gold ochre. Oh, I think that's going to be beautiful with this purple. And just kind of, you know, dotting this even on some of the purple. Just kind of dotting it. Well, now that is kind of a bleed. So just dabbing that. Got kind of most of that pigment out of there, and then just being careful not to go touching back in there. And I'm not really worried if we see some of that when it dries, you know, some of that yellow in there. That's acceptable for me, I think. Okay, love those. These are fun. Fun. Okay, and what if we go in with just a little of this pigment, and I have kind of wet my brush, but I'm just making some little shadowy places, some places where maybe the leaf is kind of curling, maybe a few veins, and just going very gentle with that. Just don't want them really dark. I'm going to blot this here because that did end up kind of dark. See, I kind of brushed more pigment into that, but that's just fine there. And I love this. See how it looks like the leaf is curled, and that was just an easy little, you know, little bitty stroke there, and just adds that fun element. The other way that you can do that is by introducing water, and you can just skim along that edge and just kind of see what happens. Okay. Some little veins in here. This one's kind of dark, so I think I will probably just blend it a little. It's a little dark and thick, and I didn't love that. You know, you can use a smaller brush, but I love that this makes such a nice point, and I am quite partial to staying often with the same brush through a painting. I tend to do that. There are times when I just find it really necessary to change, but if I don't, I'm perfectly content to just keep on with the brush that I have. So I love those. I have most of those veins done. I see one right here. And I think I'll brush in just a little more pigment up here, kind of make that a little smoother. That's something that happens if you lift your brush a little quickly, can kind of cause that pooling and then drying in another area. It's not a big deal. I love these. I'm really happy with these. I have no idea what kind of flower these would be, but you know me, I don't really care. It doesn't have to be too grounded in reality. I just like to I just like to make them, and I like to see how they turn out. So I'm taking some burnt sienna, and I'm going to make some stems, kind of a branch. And I think I'll just start down here. I like to keep these really loose. I like to, you know, kind of let my paint and brush do what they want to do. You see, I made kind of one stroke there, and then I'm just going kind of up beside it with another stroke to kind of thicken it out. So just kind of keep these in that same kind of look. That's a bit dark right there. I kind of merged those, and that's fine. But see, I like this. You've got what looks kind of like a shadow and kind of a highlight in there. Let's see. Helps if I get the cloth kind of on the spot. There we go. All right, maybe just drag one more. Okay, yeah, I like it. Oh, those are fun. Yeah, I like that. I know I keep saying it. Am I kind of reassuring myself? Maybe. But I do like it. And then I kind of want some things to just be growing off those. I might, I'm looking at my greens. Sometimes I like to take a bit of that burnt sienna and just mix it with a bit of my olive. I think this was olive. I think yesterday when I had some mixed paint over here, I put some straight olive here to kind of to have a fresh olive that wasn't as muddied. And so I want to make some longish kind of leaves just kind of coming off of these branches. And I'm going to have some back here behind. I like to have them overlapping and underlapping. That I brushed into this leaf a little bit, and so, you know, I just didn't want that there into the leaf. So that was an easy thing to fix. I keep fixing it because I'm trying to broaden the place where it ends, but I have a little too much pigment on my brush, and so I just keep ending up with, you know, kind of some stuff that's a little too dark there, but that's fine. Let's see. This is just a lot of pigment on this brush right now. Let's see. I like these. These are fun. And then maybe trying to just be sure I have some of that depth and, you know, the darker tones kind of in some other leaves too. Really doing a lot of dabbing today. A lot. Just kind of smoothing out this pigment. Okay, and then just a little bit here. We'll just see how that's going to turn out. I think it's going to be fine. Sometimes if I end and have that kind of puddle down at the tip of a leaf, I like to drag it back to the base of the leaf, the stem. Oh yeah, I am loving it. A few little veins here and there on the leaves that are dry enough to put them in. I kind of tend to just do one vein on these. Just very lightly. And then just a few things to kind of flesh this out inside of here. So just some little things where you would have, you know, a bit more in the shadows and in the background, I suppose. Yeah, I like that. And I think I should go in with my olive and just get some of these leaves a little more connected to some stems. I don't think they all need it, but since my flowers are more dry and I can get some stems in here, I just like to do that. Okay, and I think what I'll do is kind of soften those. Just add some water into those areas. Just kind of soften that and let that bleed a little bit and get just some little loose atmospheric areas back there, I suppose. And alternately, you can introduce a bit of water and then drop some pigment into that. I'm loving it. I just feel like that's giving a little bit of shadow and helping things to, I'm not sure, maybe look a little grounded. And I'm not going to stress over this, but I have a little mark that's kind of going into a petal here. And I think it's okay, but I'm just kind of brushing that and smoothing it out so it doesn't look quite as noticeable. And then just a little dot of pigment here, hoping it doesn't just bleed into that petal, but we'll keep an eye on it. Okay, and I think I'll just brush in some water down here. just kind of in these branches and kind of going out, and I'm going to drop some of my olive into those. I need more. Don't want to overdo it, but, and you can kind of use your brush to kind of direct that if you think you need to. And I'm doing that as kind of a, you know, a leaf or a grass or something back there. And then just kind of directing some of that if you need to. I just don't want anything, you know, super solid back there, and so that's why I'm not really brushing, you know, any little strokes back in there, because I kind of want it loose, and I don't know, but I think this is working for me. I like it. The yellow is dry enough. I think I'd like to add some dark brown in there. Such a dark brown. Just kind of find the shape of the center. And I usually do a bit more dark toward the bottom of that. A few little stamens, or, you know, these slashy things that kind of would be holding the pollen. This is such a tricky thing for me to keep loose and to not overthink the symmetry. It really is. And so I like that, just like that, which is kind of a miracle. I'm very rarely happy with these. It's true. Okay, and then just kind of, you know, thinking about that same kind of idea, but I love how I kept it really not symmetric there. It's so hard for me. If you knew how difficult that is for me, you'd be proud of me too. Love this. Okay. One thing to keep in mind, especially working on these centers and with such a dark color, is just to monitor your brush. I'm going really just straight into my pigment on my palette here. If you needed to wet your brush, you would just want to really be sure that you're not holding any water up here, because it will drip or pour onto your painting at the most inopportune time and kind of flood it with some of this dark brown that you do not want up in this center. So trust me, this comes from having painfully learned that lesson. And now this flower down here, tilting toward us and down, I am doing this area as my darker. I'm just getting those dots in there. So happy with these. Wow. Happy with that. Yeah. My goodness, I may just call that done. It's simple and sweet and lovely. I'm just happy with it. I think that would make a lovely card. I might would frame this and put it on my desk. It's just so sweet. I am so glad that you joined me today. I had really a delightful time just painting and just putting down some watercolor on this. I hope that you enjoyed yourself too. I would love to hear if you tried this and would love to leave me a comment. You know that I would love to read it and hopefully respond. I'm working on that. I've been a little bit busy. Summers are busy, and I just want you to know I have so much gratitude for everybody that tunes in when you leave a kind comment or reach out here or on my Instagram, petite_mesquite_studio. It just makes my day. It really does. And I'm so grateful for you. So let me know how it goes. And if you did not have a chance to paint this today, please save it and paint it when you do have a chance. And as always, happy painting.